Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark,
And I'm Rob.
and today we're going to talk about the Indiana Fever's second straight loss to the Las Vegas Aces, 78-74. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so and hit the notification bell when you do so you get notified of our next video. We're going for 5,000 subscribers, and we're getting close, and we need your help. So, Rob, that game was winnable, and it was unfortunate they lost 2 times in a row. Now they're 500 again, but I think they're still going to get the 6th spot. They're 1.5 games up on the Mercury. So all it takes is a loss by the Mercury or one win by the Fever, and they'll still end up in 6th place, which is good because you'd rather meet, I think, the Sun than the Lynx, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Mark. That game was also it was a winnable game. They weren't playing that well. They played like they did the last game. They were down at halftime, but the Aces should have actually blown them out, but they were hanging in the game. And then the Fever came right back and made it a game. But then two factors: the coaching, and then guess got to make the free throws. That's what really hurt the Fever last night.
They were 11 for 20. If they just say made 4 more, went 15 for 20, it would have been game would have gone into overtime. Or even if they hit like 3 more, the end of the game would have been different. Maybe they would have different plays. They wouldn't have to foul, and they may have been able to win the game. But they didn't hit the free throws. But be that as may, maybe if the refs were fair, we wouldn't be in this situation either, Rob, because this is the second game in a row where the Aces got away with a lot of physicality, which they like to call them the WM, which are really fouls, especially by the guards and Clark and stuff like that. And Kelsey Plum pushes people and get called, and there's clutching, grabbing, holding, and Clark. And the Aces seem to be the privileged team in this league because they're 2-time defending champions, and they got the best player was given the MVP award in week 1, and she doesn't get called for fouls apparently. That she had 1 foul call this game against her and 0 last game, and she only averages 1.8 fouls against her overall. Now I know she's an athletic player, so she can play defense better than players who aren't as athletic, but still, I find it a little hard to believe.
Yeah, I wish I had that one because I was a good defensive player, but I probably averaged about 4.
You wish you had a special whistle, Rob?
Yeah, no, I didn't get the special whistle, but there were fouls. I fouled. I admitted there were fouls. So, but they were physical, but when the Fever got physical, they called the fouls on them, which was not fair.
I know. I have no confidence that they're going to win anything in the playoffs. Maybe a game, unless Clark goes ballistic 2 games in a row or something, or 2 games out of 3, because the refs are going to be against them. I can see that already, and they're going to get outcoached severely, no matter who they play against in the first round. So it's probably going to be Connecticut. I just don't have any confidence that they're going to get.
Yeah, and what we've harped on the whole year, Mark, with them is their defense, and not just their regular defense, is their perimeter defense. Wide, not just contested, but wide open threes.
Right down the stretch, Rob. Kelsey Plum wide open at the end of the game.
The players are not even close. They're not even like 10 feet, within 10 feet. I'm like, what happened? Where'd they go? Where are you?
I don't understand why they're so bad at being on their person to stop a 3-point attempt. They keep thinking they can close in on time. No, closing in on time, as you're doing it, you can't go straight up now anymore. So you're going at an angle, and it's going to be high, so it's easier to shoot over and easier to see over. If you're closer, you can almost go straight up, and it's much harder. Unless you got a Kelsey Mitchell type arc, it's going to be harder for them to make the 3 if you're closer to your person to begin with.
Once that person catches the ball at the 3-point line, if you're like near where they like the Fever usually are, if you're near the free throw line, there's no way, unless you're Flash, there's no way you're gonna even contest that shot. So now they can't even do that, and you're not gonna block it. Right. But these contested, but they're like, it's like, I got the other team's like, oh yeah, 3-pointer. I have the ball now. They actually have time to take their time, line up, and shoot, which is very rare in basketball, but they have that much time.
Well, this is coaching, Rob, as you probably know better than I do. But they're just not positioned properly, Rob. They don't rotate properly. They don't communicate properly on defense. That's why people end up with open threes, or like last game more than this game. Asia Wilson's wide open by the free throw line for an easy jump shot. It's just bad defense and, coaching. I mean, some like Caitlin Clark, part of it's on her with her defense, where she still has awful stance, and she's still standing up, with her legs straight and her back in a weird position back over instead of, getting her, bending her knees and stuff. But still, there's coaching. That's coaching too.
Yeah.
Keep
and you hit the nail on the head, Mark. Also with defense, it's what I say, work, but also communication. I mean, especially if you're playing man to man, you have to talk. If someone's setting a screen on me, and if you don't tell me, Mark, that screen right, screen left, and all of a sudden I turn and I get nailed by the person who's setting the screen, I'm not going to go after the person who set the screen. I'm going after you. I was like, why don't you talk? Why don't you tell me the screen on the right? Tell me there's a screen.
Right. I don't know what to say. It's hard to hear, what they're saying, but apparently there's not enough communication. That's what I can tell.
There's none.
All right, so we'll get to Caitlin Clark. She had an awful first half, as everybody knows, and she had a great third quarter. She scored 14 points, and overall her stats ended up okay, except for the turnovers. She, shooting was a little off, turnovers were off, but she didn't have a bad game overall. But she had a really bad first half, Rob. That was the worst I've seen her play since one other game.
Yeah, it was really bad. I mean, I was like, wow, what happened here? What's going on?
But she made some really bad passes, and she has to stop doing that. Like I said, I have no problem with the high risk, high percentage type of passes, especially on the break where she threads the needle, because those are an easy 2 points. Well, they should be an easy 2 points if people can make layups. We're talking about forced passes in the post where the person's not open and she just kind of forces it. And she's got to stop doing that. And, I think she's a great player and a great passer, but she's got to learn, okay, that percentage is too low in circumstances like that to make that type of pass.
She also does the cardinal sin, which my coach used to say to me, don't pass off the dribble.
Don't pass off the dribble?
Yeah. So if you're dribbling the ball and all of a sudden you just pass it like that, don't do that, because she tried that one across court pass and it was over like 3 or 4 or 5 people. And I'm like, no. And one thing, passing off the dribble, you have no control. So if you stop and pass, at least you're like, oh, you're going to hesitate before you pass it. But once you dribble and then release that ball, you can't bring it back. You're like, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have made that pass. And that's what she does sometimes.
So you should only do that when the person's kind of wide open and you're wide open.
Yeah, pass off the dribble. And then
you're not going to
watch
Yeah, you're not going to be pulling the pass back, right? Because Magic Johnson used to do that all the time, but he knew when to do it, apparently.
Right. Yeah, he knew when to do it.
All right, so anyways, Mitchell had a great first half, and if it wasn't for Mitchell, they would have been blown out. And then for some reason, she got hardly any shots in the second half and didn't score. I don't know what happened, but she wasn't getting the ball, and she only scored 1 point in the second half, Rob, after scoring 19 in the first. That's unbelievable.
And she was out of the game for a while also.
Well, twice. I mean, she was out of the game for like the last 4 minutes of the third, maybe, and the first 2 of the second. And she ended up playing 35. No, I think it was the last 3 of the third and the first 2 of the fourth. Okay. I would have put her right in the beginning of the fourth quarter. But
yeah,
Sides kept Wheeler in instead, who was 0 for 2, shooting wise, and played 16 minutes, which is 10 minutes more than she should play. But I don't understand. She wouldn't start Temi Fig-Benley, which she should have, to cover Asia Wilson, she did a good job on her last game. Of course, she started Smith, and her defense Smith didn't play well. She had 3 points, and 21 minutes she got, but she just didn't play well. She doesn't play good defense consistently at all, Rob. So I don't know why she thought Smith should start after last game. It just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, as a coach, you got to determine. So if you got a player like Wilson, you got to put a person in who can guard her. And maybe Smith can start other games against other different teams because of the way the teams are set up. But it's okay not to start her. Don't worry about. I'm not worried about the players' feelings. I'm worried about winning. I mean, It seems like she's worried about her feeling. You didn't play well the last game. I'm going to start Temi.
Yeah.
And if she wants to sulk and whatever, that's on her. But I'm here to win the game. I really don't care.
Well, and it didn't work either, obviously, because she had a bad game. And then Tammy Fig-Bentley played well when she got in there, and then we didn't see her again until almost the end of the third quarter. So, and she ended up playing 13 minutes when she should have been playing like 25 minutes because
Right.
she's playing
They
good
were
defense.
right. They were down by I think 10 or something, like 10 or 12, and then she came in, and right away, 3 straight baskets they made, and caused the Ace to call a timeout.
Well, she was a +3. Smith was a -9, if that gives you any kind of clue. So, anyways, Tammy Fig-Bentley played 13 minutes and she was 2 for 3 field goals. She missed both free throws, unfortunately. That's bad. But she got 5 rebounds and assists and 4 points, but she only played 13 minutes. She gets rebounds too. That's the other thing.
Right.
So, and Wheeler played too many minutes. She played 16 minutes. She only scored 2 points. She had 1 assist and nothing else other than a couple of free throws that she made. Now, Dantas hits a couple shots and we never see her again for like 2 quarters later. So when a player's hot, isn't that when you're supposed to play the player a little bit more than they normally do, Rob? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's supposed to. Though that happened to me once when I was in college. I came in the game and I hit my first 3 shots, and the coach took me out, and I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Oh, because you weren't passing the ball inside to the one guy." I'm like, "I just hit 3 straight shots."
And then put you back in. And then put you back in. So yeah,
No,
then she waits too long to put Dantas in. By that time, it's 2 quarters later. She's probably not as hot as she was before. But Dantas played pretty well. Even though defense isn't as good as Tammy Fig-Bentley. I mean, she scored 11 points in just 16 minutes. She had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. She was 4 for 6 and 2 for 2 from threes. She's got great touch on her shot, Rob, and great form.
yes.
But she's too slow for the offense that we all think they should play. But that doesn't mean she shouldn't play some minutes and contribute.
She's got that little set shot that goes in. She takes her time. And look, reminds me of the old time, like the way I shoot, a little slow, but it goes in.
Yeah, I'd have to watch the game film again. I don't understand why Mitchell didn't get more shots. I mean, Clark usually looks for Mitchell, especially in key situations, but she wasn't getting shots in the second half, and she only scored 1 point.
Speaking of Clark and shooting, in the fourth quarter, only took 2 shots in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, she took a 3 that maybe was ill-advised. It was a logo 3.
Yeah, when it was right down to the end. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe she should have waited for a better shot, but I don't know. That's her shot. Like that side, she hits that shot. She ended up 7 for 18, 2 for 8 from threes, 2 from 4 at the free throw line. Surprisingly, she missed 2 free throws in a row, which is I think the first time all year she's done that. But she did have 8 rebounds and 9 assists. I mean, she almost had a triple-double, but she had 6 turnovers. Again, that's too many. She's got to get a 2-to-1 ratio when she becomes, a better player. I think she'll get that between the assists and the turnovers.
And she's got to start learning to control her emotions. I mean, I know she's still young and stuff, but she's got to know. And I know she's not getting the calls, and she gets frustrated if she's not making her shots or bad pass because she's such a competitor. So she's taking out on herself and getting down on herself. But she's got to learn to really just forget about it. It's like, if something happens, just forget. Oh, I made a bad pass. Okay, next time, I'll get it next time.
Right.
But she takes it really personal and gets too into it, or when she gets fouled or doesn't get the foul call, she's turned into Luca, which is really annoying me. I don't want to be like that because I like, she's turning into that.
I agree, Rob. I think the whining's not helping. I feel bad for her. I think she's getting screwed over, but the whining's not helping. It turns off the refs, I think, and they already don't like her, so they like the whining even less.
Right.
Unfortunately, she's in a bad position because this league is screwing her over. The refs are. That's my opinion. So, but she's got to stop it, and just, I don't know. It's unfair, but that's life, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. That's life.
So anyway, Boston played better this game. And of course, she didn't get all these foul calls against her, so she was not in foul trouble. And she actually scored, she was 6 for 10. But she also had 8 rebounds. And this time she only had 2 fouls against her. So I guess these refs didn't screw her over like last time where she just kept getting foul calls and Asia Wilson didn't get any. So I will say that much. But that doesn't mean the refs were fair, because there was a lot the guard play, a lot of clutching, grabbing, holding by the guards, Rob.
Yeah, it's okay to pressure the ball. Like, I mean, if aces were physical, and like I said, the referee, I mean, as a player, you're going to go as far as the referees. If they're going to allow you to clutch and grab and not make the foul calls, and that's what the aces did. They said that we're going to come out and be physical and see how the refs do it. And eventually, I guess the refs weren't doing it. But, I mean, the Fever still got to the free throw line. They shot 20 free throws. So, I mean, that's on them, too. They got to make them pay. And they did not.
Well, Sides has to get in the ref's face more, Rob, because
Yes.
Becky Hammond does it all the time. Cheryl Reeve does it all the time. And guess what? They get the benefit of the calls. So she's got to get in their face more. She's afraid to get a technical. I think she's only got one technical all year. So you get a technical. You're not getting thrown out. It's one free throw. You got to sometimes just make a stand when you're getting screwed over by the refs, and let the players know that you got their back. And she doesn't let them know, Rob, and I think it bothers the players, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, you don't have to. I mean, I've only in my coaching, Mark, I've only gotten like maybe, believe it or not, I've only gotten like I got thrown out of a game. But I mean, total, I've only had like 5 technicals called on me in my coaching, 13 years of coaching, and but I would say something like, maybe the referee, because they're human, maybe I'd say like, you know, that was a foul over there in that person, and the referee would turn to me like, yeah, you're right, it was a foul. I'll look at that next time, or I'll say, hey, this like Becky does. She's pounded her inside. Look at her. Or that's 3 seconds. Or you just, I mean, because sometimes the refs, they're human. They get caught up and they're not, though they're supposed to be looking at what's going on. They're like, oh, yeah, you're right. That's 3 seconds. Or, okay, yeah, she is getting her hammered there. I'll keep an eye on it. And then you might get the call again. You're like, okay, cool. But you got to get in their ear. You got to make like you're in the game. She's not in the game.
Yeah, I mean, look at, like, we didn't even go over this last video, but Becky Hammond went crazy when they were trying to challenge the call. She knew that if they did it right, if they reviewed it correctly, that the play where Chelsea Gray pushed into Aaliyah Boston for her 5th foul and then shot the layup, she knew that was not a foul on Aaliyah Boston. So she went ballistic because she thought they were delaying the game, is what she said afterwards. Like she never checks to see whether or not she should challenge a call before. But she was going ballistic. I don't even know why she was doing it. She was never going to get that. Once they were telling them they were interested in challenging the call, they weren't going to give the free throws right away. But you can see, like, she was, you know, that's how animated she is. And Christy Sides won't ever do that. No way.
No, it's sad. I mean, she tries to, but she's not in that. She's not in their ear. I mean, you call them over and you say, what about that? What is that? Or you question them. Why was that a foul? And I thought, and the referee will say, I thought that, but have you seen she's doing the other players doing the same thing. Why don't you call on her? That's what you say. Call it both ways. That's the thing. Call it both ways. Call it both ways.
And their end of the games are terrible, especially against better teams. And then she hasn't drawn up a good play all year. That's worked well. I think of all the times they've called a timeout near the end of the games in close games and drew up plays, I think one of them worked.
Mark, I think that you could draw up an out of bounds play. You're not even a coach, but you could figure out. You have 3 players that are shooting the 3-pointers. I think you could draw up a play where at least one of them would have the ball in their hand.
Or I wouldn't have Boston take the 3-point shot. I would have someone like Clark, Mitchell, or Hall take it. Oh, gee.
Yeah, I think
that's hard to figure out, Rob.
Right.
So confusing. Go over that again, please.
Yeah, I was like, who's taking the 3-pointer? Gee, you, and you, not you.
Let's talk about Asia Wilson. Didn't really play that well, Rob. She had a lot of rebounds, but she didn't shoot well. She was, she has a sore ankle, so I'm not jumping on her case. But she was 6 for 15 and 0 for 1 at threes. But she had 17 rebounds, 2 blocks and a steal, and so she ended up with 15 points. But Chelsea Gray played really well. She had one fantastic behind-the-back pass, which is the first time I've seen a great pass by her. She's supposedly the point guard, and I just don't see it, Rob. I don't see her being a point guard. She's a good passer, but she's not even in the same league as Clark as a passer, I believe. Although she has fewer turnovers. Like, she only had 2 turnovers, and she had 6 assists. That's one advantage she has over Clark as a point guard. But she played well. She shot well. She drove well. I think she gets the benefit of the calls also. I think she pushes when she drives sometimes and gets away with it. But she had 21 points and she was 7 for 11 and 2 for 4 for threes. And there's no reason she should be scoring that many points and shooting that well because she's easy to defend because she's slow and hobbled, Rob.
Right. I mean, but she, I give her props because she made up her mind. Says, "Oh yeah, Caitlin Clark's the point guard. I'll show you," and then she did. She did. She shot well from the mid range too. She was creating her own shot, driving to the basket. She's kind of that looked like I don't know if you've ever seen her play before, but I haven't. That looks like the old Chelsea Gray.
Well, they both shot 30% from threes, but I think the Aces were more open. So the Aces missed more wide open shots than the Fever did. So they could have lost by more if the Aces had hit their threes that when they were open. But that game was winnable. And it's a shame if they had a real coach, maybe some refs that were fair. If Clark had played a better first half and didn't lose their composure. And I guess so for the technical, they interviewed her afterwards. They asked about the technical. They said it's in the rules. Supposedly the stanchion, hitting the stanchion is in the rules. I've never heard of that. I've watched the NBA for over 55 years. I've never seen anyone get a technical for slapping the stanchion, unless it's like right in the ref's face or something like that. Maybe that's happened, or right in front of the ref, or the ref standing next to the stanchion. But I've never seen it for just hitting the stanchion before, Rob. So I
mean,
don't know
the reason why you would get a technical, the main reason is that you're trying to show up the referee. That's a technical. But I mean, if you're hitting it in the frustration, she hit it in frustration. She wasn't hitting it because she got the foul called on her. She was hitting it in frustration to herself. So I mean, this rule, that's they should just throw it out because that's. What's going to be next? What's going to be next? Pounding the floor, hitting the floor is going to be technical next. Is that going to be next?
Right. And it looked like, I think it was Jackie Young was coming. It looked like Jackie Young tripped on her own feet too. Whether there was some contact with the hand or not, I saw the replay. It was hard to tell. She may have fouled her, but still, I don't know. She had the foul before that was kind of iffy. So she got 2 quick fouls, and I think she was upset about. I mean, considering what they do to her, and then she does the same thing, and then she gets called for a foul. So it doesn't seem fair to me.
If I was a home team, I would put so wherever Caitlin Clark hit the stanchion, I would put like a little Band-Aid or X mark on it, just to.
Well, as everyone probably knows that's listening to this, that's her 6th technical, and this is how it works, as far as I understand it. She gets the 7th technical next game. She will sit out the last game of the year. If she gets the 7th technical in the last game of the year, doesn't hurt her at all because the technicals get wiped out at the end of the regular season. She won't be thrown out during that game unless she gets the 2nd technical, obviously. So as long as she didn't get technical the next game, she's cool. And the playoffs, they start all over again. I don't know what the rules are for the technicals in the playoffs, but regular season ends, the technicals get wiped out, just like in the NBA. That's my understanding. So she could get suspended if she gets a technical next game. I think she's aware of that. I'm sure she'll do everything she can not to get one. So hopefully, because they might need to win one of these 2 games to keep 6th place. And I think they want to do that, as we mentioned, because I think the Suns are a little bit better matchup than the Lynx. So their next game is tomorrow, which is Sunday, at 3:00 against the Dallas Wings. And that's going to be on NBA TV. And then on the 19th is the last game of the year against the Mystics. And that's an away game. And that's on Prime Video. And that's at 7:00. So join us for those 2 games. We're going to be doing live simulcast. And join us for our live show, which is Monday, except for major holidays, from 6 to 8 Eastern time. You can call in for that show. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, what are you waiting for? If you like Caitlin Clark, subscribe to our channel. If you like football, subscribe to our channel. If you like Rob, subscribe to our channel. We need 5,000, going for 5,000. We're getting close, and we need your help. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to donate to this channel, there's super chats and super thanks down below and a link to PayPal. And we'll see you in the next video.
All right. Peace out.